Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Devin the Bear. I do want to say thank you to everybody for checking out our last episode with Carlos Nava. We really appreciate it. Make sure to go check him out on Instagram. You'll get to see a good set of his skills. He posts a lot of his workouts. He posts a lot of his different trainings and drills. So again, we really appreciate that. Today we're going to be talking about the UFC card coming up this weekend, headlined by Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Augusto Sakai. We were really excited yet again for the Amanda Ribas fight with Angela Hill, but again that fight has been scrapped. There's a middleweight.
Yeah, the middleweight fight taking place is Dusko Todorovic, and he's going against Gregory Rodriguez. So Amanda Ribas was still having complications with her COVID-19. When she had
really frustrating.
She was having she's still having symptoms. She was having some complications. That's what the word I'm looking for. There we go. And having complications with those things, with the virus. And I think probably what it is too is, like she kind of was trying to have a quick turnaround, considering she was cutting weight. Your immune system's low, so probably didn't sit very well with her. So hopefully we can see her back soon. Maybe she just needs to take a break for a little while, get her body back to to 100%, rehydrate, just get back right there. I'm sure her and Angela Hill are going to have to meet again, but I know Angela Hill's wanting a fight, and she's probably
she's not going to wait.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can do for that, too. It's like you can only wait so long until it's like, man, let's just reschedule this. Like, that, right? Let's just give me a new opponent,
Yeah.
So.
Well, and on the prelims, there's Tanner Bozer's fighting. He's a really exciting heavyweight. There's Francisco Trinaldo. But as far as the main card, it's going to be starting with Tom Breeze and Antonio Arroyo. Tom Breeze is always really fun to watch. He's an English fighter. Antonio Arroyo is going to make it interesting. He's pretty well-rounded. I don't think if he tries to keep it standing, he's going to win. I think his best bet's going to take it to the ground, use his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But Tom Breeze has pretty good takedown defense.
And that's what we're going to see, too, though, is, with Antonio Arroyo, his two losses, he's 0-2 in the UFC right now. Two losses are to Deron Wynn and also to Andre Muniz. So Andre Muniz submitted him, and Deron Wynn took him to decision. So Tom Breeze, the way he fights, I mean, you know more about him than I do, but is he more of a wrestler, or is he?
He's pretty well-rounded, but he likes to stand there and strike with people.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really, I don't want to say like a clinch, dirty boxing kind of fighter, but he ends up against the cage a lot. But he's just pretty well-rounded. I think both of these guys are pretty well-rounded. Getting submitted by Andre Muniz, we learned, is not such a bad thing. It's just kind of going to happen. That dude broke Jacare's arm.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing to do. Jacare's never been submitted before.
Yeah.
So I don't think that kind of takes anything away from Antonio Arroyo. But that fight's going to be a pretty back and forth one, I think. I think you're going to see two guys going back and forth, trying to implement their game plan. And I see Tom Breeze getting the better of that fight and winning. I'm sure he's the favorite in that fight.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I think he's just has the better all-around skills from what you were saying. And Antonio Arroyo, I mean, with his two losses coming to, with the Andre Muniz fight, it's like you said, you really can't hold it against him. I mean, that guy is fucking tearing limbs off now.
We're starting to see what he can do, and he's not a joke.
Yeah.
That guy, like I said, breaking Jacare's arm is kind of something that's like something that you don't think really happened.
Yeah.
Like that's something people say happened at the gym.
Yeah.
But you're like, yeah, no, that never happened.
And it's just like even with that armbar that Muniz had, it was tight.
It was real tight.
Before he even had it fully extended, it was already slapped in. And with Antonio Arroyo, he lost to Deron Wynn. Deron Wynn's a small middleweight dude. That dude's 5'6", 185 pounds, and he struggles to make 185.
I was about to say he's real stocky though.
Yeah.
If he pushes on you, it's going to be hard to get him off.
Yeah, he's
those short, stocky guys are hard to deal with when they get in close.
He's a high level wrestler as well. Yeah. So I mean, if he was able to do that to Antonio Arroyo, then with Tom Breeze, who's just all around just well rounded, we're gonna definitely. I think Tom Breeze is definitely gonna implement his game plan a lot better than Antonio Arroyo does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The next fight is going to be Santiago Ponzinibbio and Miguel Baeza.
Yep.
I think a lot of people are pulling for Ponzinibbio in this fight.
Yeah.
He's a fan favorite for sure.
Yep.
His career's kind of been up and down a little bit. So I'm getting the feel that a lot of people want him to win this fight.
Yep.
But with Miguel Baeza, I think it's going to be a tough one.
It is. It's going to be a very hard fight. I mean, with Ponzinibbio, with where he came from, he grew up over in Argentina, and now he's fighting the UFC. So he's a prominent figure over there. I've talked to some people who are from Argentina, some good friends, and I talked to some good friends, and they said that his name's pretty well known around there if you keep up with MMA and stuff. But he recently he just got knocked out, but before that, he's coming off of his ACL. He had an ACL tear, coming off his recovery from that. Takes a really, really tough fight, goes in there and gets knocked out, which it's hard because he was in that position where it's like, okay, you're probably going to be the next big thing. And then
who knocked him out?
I can't remember.
I think he's undefeated.
Not Baeza. Ponzinibbio.
Yeah.
Ponzinibbio got knocked out his last fight.
Omari. I'm blanking on how to say his name.
I also just don't want to butcher his name because I know I'm going to. Li Jing Liang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Li Jing Liang, who's also fucking...
Well, his last fight was Omari Akhmedov, and he lost by submission.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brendan Allen knocked him out. Sean Strickland beat him by a split decision.
Who's that?
I'm sitting here talking about Tom Breeze. We're talking about Ponzinibbio. I'm so sorry.
But
my
no,
brain
you're
got
good.
real scattered.
Well, Tom Breeze, he has losses to like good people though.
Yeah.
That's the thing too, But I'm sure he'll find his footing. He's doing well doing that. But Ponzinibbio, he coming off of an ACL injury, I'm sure it probably took the flame out of where he was coming up from, because a lot of people are starting to recognize him. He just knocked out Neo Magny, and I want to say he fought him in Buenos Aires, Argentina, as well. And he knocked him out in his home country, which is super cool to see. It's always cool seeing that, guys go back to their home country and they put on a great show.
He won a decision against Zach Cummins, which is incredibly hard to do.
Who's that? Ponzinibbio?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Zach Cummins, that's what he does. He grinds you out until you are so dead that you can't win that fight no matter what you do, and he just keeps grinding you.
Yeah.
So Ponzinibbio winning a fight by decision against Zach Cummins, that's a hard thing to do. But with Miguel Baeza,
he's undefeated. He's looking good. He's 4-0 in the UFC right now. 3 of those are by stoppages, and so he's on a good tear. He's really establishing his name in the welterweight division, because the welterweight division, it's not really on hold right now. It's a weird spot since Kamaru's dominating everybody, but it's pretty much the champion is the only consistent person in the entire weight class right now. And so there's a lot of everyone's kind of in limbo right now, waiting to see who's next for Kamaru Usman. But Miguel Baeza is not an easy fight at all for anybody, and he's looking great. And the thing is, though, is Ponzinibbio going to still look like himself, or is he going to go in there and get finished like these other guys, or just get beat to a decision, So it's one that I'm looking forward to. It's probably one of the few fights on this card I'm looking forward to.
The next fight is going to be I just had it. Laureano Staropoli is fighting Roman Dolidze. I'm not sure how to say that one.
Don't ask me. Yeah.
That fight, I think, got moved around and the opponents got switched up. So that's why I had a little trouble making sure I had the right names. Both of those guys are making their way up. That one's going to be a pretty back and forth fight, I think. I don't see either guy not going in there and fighting to get the finish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to definitely be one that's a fun one to watch. That's about in like the middle of the main card. So if you're one of those guys, you have a lot of exciting fighters that you're following up, and if you're fighting to get a bonus, you have your work cut out for you, because people like Tom Breeze and Ponzinibbio and Miguel Baeza, they're going to make it hard for you to get something to be exciting. So you're gonna have to work really hard. And then Roman Dolidze, with how he fights, I feel like he's gonna end up taking the win. I would assume that he's the favorite in that fight. Having I want to say he's got more experience in the UFC. So him having the more experience in that fight, I would assume he's going to win. And as far as how, I'd say he's going to end up winning on the feet. I think he's going to end up getting a TKO.
I think so.
He's just a more experienced fighter in the UFC. But
so Lorano, he fights out of he's from Argentina as well. So that's two Argentinian fighters fighting on that card. It's always cool to see. He's from La Plata, Buenos Aires, Argentina. So, but right now he's on a 2-fight skid. He has 5 fights in the UFC. He's 3-2 right now in the UFC, and he's fighting against.
This will be his 5th fight.
This will be his 5th fight in the UFC. So he's 2-2 in the UFC right now.
And his wins are against Hector Aldana and Thiago Alves, and I think a recent win against Thiago Alves isn't.
It's
as exciting as it would have been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Nothing against Thiago Alves. Just your name doesn't carry the weight it used to.
No.
That's all.
No. USADA came in and kind of fucked that up for him. So, yeah.
That dude was jacked.
He was jacked, dude. You see his fucking traps?
He fought at welterweight.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And I don't know how. He fought GSP, right?
He had no fucking neck.
Freaking dude.
Like, fucking knocked out Matt Hughes with that flying knee.
If anyone could be called Pitbull, it's for sure him.
Because he looks like one. He's fucking built like one. Fucking. Then after that, he fucking. I don't know what happened. He tried to drop down to lightweight. You remember that? Yeah, terrible idea.
No
He's too
way
big for
he
that.
Would make that weight.
And he didn't make the weight, and he went right back up. And I don't know why he thought that was a good idea, because you could just look at him and tell, even after USADA came, I mean, but his size comparison from USADA to now is like, pre-USADA to USADA was completely different.
His arms and his chest are so much thinner.
Yeah. It was just like, man, what the hell were you taking? I need some of that. Like, but.
Beaver tranquilizer.
Yeah, probably fucking, god damn it, Bernice. It was just like. So you got, Roman Dolidze. He's coming off of a loss as well. He just lost to Trevin Giles.
Yeah.
Trevin Giles is good, though. I mean, you can't put it past that guy right there. But it's going to be, for both these guys, it's going to be who wants to be in the UFC. Lorano needs this win if he wants to stay in the UFC. He's 2-2 right now.
A 3-fight losing streak is never good. That definitely puts you in hot water.
Yeah.
So I really think, like I said, I think this fight's going to be back and forth. Both of these guys are going to be looking for a finish. I give it to Roman.
I do too. I think he's just all around just going to go in there and do it. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never seen any of these guys fight. Yeah.
And yeah, you saying that that Loriano had 4 fights in the UFC.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't thinking the fight against Hector Aldana was in the UFC, because they both have about the same amount of experience in that case. But anyway, the other fight is going to be Walt Harris and Marcin Tybura.
Yeah, the co-main event.
That one's going to be a good one. Walt Harris is going to need a win.
Yeah.
Badly.
He needs it really bad.
I think both guys kind of need it.
Mm-hmm.
Marcin Tybura has a spotty record now. If he wants to stay relevant, he's going to need a win. But I would assume if Walt Harris loses again, that he's probably going to be out.
Yeah, it sucks to see it. He's, like you said, since he's came back, he took a hiatus because sadly his daughter was kidnapped and murdered.
Yeah.
And so he kind of had to take a break to really just recoup and just really think about things. And he decided he still wanted to keep fighting. So he came back and he fought Alistair Overeem right before Alistair Overeem was cut from the UFC, and Alistair was on this tear. And he was looking good up until the second round, but in the
just gassed himself out.
He had Alistair really hurt in that first round, and he gassed himself out, like you said. And Alistair just went in there and just went for the kill. And then after that, he fought. Who did Walt Harris fight after that? I want to say Volkov, was it?
Yeah, it might have been, because I know he lost it.
Yeah, he fought Volkov. I mean, there's really not much you can do against Alexander Volkov, though, man.
That dude doesn't let you get in on him.
The way he fights reminds me of Tyson Fury. He's just super big, super long, and especially whenever he fought Alistair Overeem, he was just sticking him from the outside, and like it doesn't look like he puts a lot of power behind his punches because he doesn't have to.
He's keeping you away so that you can find a strike that works.
One of the first punches he landed on Alistair Overeem, he broke his nose in their fight. It was just like, man. Then you have Marcin Tybura, he's looking good right now. He's on a win streak, so I want Walt Harris to take it, but the thing is though, it's just sometimes that drive's just not always there, especially going through what you've been through. But yeah, right now, I mean, since then, Marcin's here, like you said, he has a kind of a spotty record. Got in the UFC and he's on a 4-fight win streak. He's beat some pretty good guys. He beat Greg Hardy. Yeah. He beat Ben Rothwell as well. Sergey Spivak.
Beating Sergey right now is a big deal because that dude is supposed to be the next big thing. So yeah, Marcin Tybura, he needs to keep putting wins together because I feel like if he doesn't keep it going, he's just not going to be a competitive name in the heavyweight division because right now, just the top of the heavyweight is so freaking good. Yep. But what's even crazier is the path to get there is really hard. Yeah. Yeah, people like Cyril Gahn, Tom Aspinall, which we keep bringing those two up. But you got to get through them. And then the main event, you have to get through those guys too, Rozenstruik and Sakai.
Sakai already has a win over Marcin Tybura too.
So if you can't string wins together, you're definitely not going to be competitive in the top 5. Yeah. Let alone top 10. Like is Tybura ranked in top 10?
11.
He's 11. Okay, I was about to say I don't think that he is, but I mean I could see him being 10 or 9. Yeah,
he's ranked number 11 right now, but I mean it's just gonna be kind of a curious thing what's going to happen with him because you got guys like Chris Daukaus. He's coming up,
and I think if they fight, I wouldn't be surprised if Daukaus wins it.
No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think Daukaus takes that one because he's just a more active fighter than Tybura. Tybura just kind of catches you. Or he just kind of rests on you and just takes you down. Like he tried to do against Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis knocked him out.
Yeah, Derek Lewis don't play that.
No, he don't play that touch butt. He doesn't. He's like, no, you're not gonna sniff my crotch. Get away from me.
You try to get him down, he's gonna get up.
Yeah, he just gets up. It's impressive. I watch that video all the time. That there's 3 minutes of him just getting up, and I'm like, I'm gonna try that. And I think about it, I'm like, I'm not Derek fucking Lewis. And so I'm like, no, that's not going to work. I'm short and fucking out of shape. I'm going to try to get up and they're just going to clip my ankle.
You also wouldn't be fighting these big, heavy dudes who don't really use technique anyway. Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting to see Derek Lewis, which I know he's fighting for the title. Yeah. But I think it'd be interesting to see him fight someone like Tom Aspinall. Yeah, which I know we're getting off topic with this, but think about that matchup.
I know we're kind of going away from this exciting fucking card we got to talk about, but yeah.
Well, but think about that matchup: Derek Lewis and Tom Aspinall. Yeah, Derek Lewis has to put away Tom Aspinall because if it goes to the ground, Tom Aspinall is going to submit him. Yeah, I would hate to see that. I like Tom Aspinall, but I would hate to see Derek Lewis get tapped out.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fun at all.
But if it goes to the ground.
Aspinall's not going to just let him get up.
Yeah, he actually has technique.
He's really slick.
That being said, so does Roy Nelson. Yeah. And Derek Lewis got up on Roy Nelson several times.
A lot.
What is this man?
I don't know, dude. I don't fucking get it. Like,
he is the golden god.
He's something, dude. It cracks me the fuck up. Like
the black beast.
He just eats whatever he wants and he just goes in there. It's like, no, I can do that. Like I don't know.
His fight against Volkov was crazy.
Yo, yeah, he's getting beat up the whole fucking fight.
Last 10 seconds, just laid Volkov out. Yeah. It reminded me of seeing Stefan Struve get knocked out by Mark Hunt.
Oh, yeah. They're just going back and forth, and finally he just lands that. I don't know how Stefan Struve always got knocked out by that punch. It was always an overhand right.
That punch by the same type of fighter. Yeah. Heavy-handed boxer.
And so, it was always a heavy-handed boxer that always knocked him out with the same exact fucking punch. Roy Nelson did it. Mark Hunt did it. Travis Brown kind of did it. It was more of a Superman punch. Yeah. And but yeah, it's kind of weird because where do these guys lie? Like we've seen Marcin Tybura have to fight against these top guys. Like all the guys that he's lost to, I've already passed him up now. And so it's like, where do you lie? You know, you look at somebody like Walt Harris. Walt Harris is 0-2 right now, and He's currently on this little losing streak, and so it's like, where does he lie if he wins?
That's what I'm saying. I think he needs the win, and Tibura needs the win. Because if Tibura can't keep stringing wins together, that's kind of it. Because we'll look at what if you're halfway through climbing this mountain, and you're just about to get to the hard part, stringing wins together is going to become a significantly more difficult challenge. And for Walt Harris, he's kind of fallen down a few steps, so he just needs a win.
Yeah.
And who knows, even if he gets a win, he might kind of call it a career.
I think he should. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just best bet for him. I think he'd be a great coach. You know, he's got a family to take care of too as well, and so I think it'd be nice for to see him go out and win. I think he deserves it. You know, I think him and his family deserve some type of win to be like, okay, like, you know what, let's just go ahead and do it. But I don't see him being around for much longer. He's 37 years old, and I mean, he has a family to support at the same time, but he has a family to be there for, you know, because, you know, when you lose a loved one, you have that, you can't ever fill that void. And even though it was his stepdaughter, like, he talks about her like that was his own kid.
Oh yeah,
you know,
you could see how much it hurt him to lose her.
Yeah, I mean, just to see that happen. So I just think if he goes out on one, just be like, you know what, man, like, I'm gonna just call it a career. I think that'd be best for him. But I mean, he knows it better than himself, and I'm sure he probably feels the same way too. Now he's 0-2 since that, and it's kind of hard to see. You know, he has a loss to Mark Godbeer.
Really? Was it in bare knuckle?
It was in the UFC.
In the UFC?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I did not know that. And so
interesting. Mark Godbeer is a heavyweight bare knuckle fighter who fights for, I think he currently fights for Valor, which is Ken Shamrock's bare knuckle organization, and that dude is scary.
Yeah.
I would say that I would fight anybody. It doesn't mean I think I would win, but I would fight absolutely anybody. I would hesitate before accepting that fight. I would accept it, but if someone told me, oh, you're going to fight Mark Godbeer, I'd be like, the first thing that pops in my head would be him knocking out Jack May. I'd be like,
yeah,
okay.
The motherfucker was out for like 10 minutes, dude.
God, it was scary.
Look at Mark Godbeer versus Jack May.
Jack May.
Yeah. I don't know why I said it like that.
Skip through the ridiculous introductions for the fighters and get straight to the fight. It lasts like 2 minutes. I won't ruin it for anybody who watches it. It is sick. It is a really fun fight to watch. If you're a fan of Godbeer, if you're a fan of Jack May, I'm so sorry. You had to have been scared. But anyway.
You know who Roger Matthews is?
No.
He was married to one of the girls from the Jersey Shore. He's married to JWoww. And he does a podcast with...
her name is JWoww?
Her name is Jenny, but she goes by JWoww.
Jenny.
Yeah, did you...
And she chose to go by JWoww.
Yeah, she's from the Jersey Shore, dude. I mean, fuck. But what's it called? I mean, at some point, did you watch the Jersey Shore ever?
No.
No? Oh,
no.
Okay, never mind. I'll just change the subject.
Okay.
But,
what was the point of this?
Well, that dude Roger actually does a podcast with Frankie Edgar. Him and Frankie Edgar are friends.
Oh, that's... Yeah. Okay.
Dude, him and fucking Mark Godbeer look alike. I think that every fucking time. It's just random. I don't know. It just popped up in my head.
I don't think they look alike.
No? Okay, never mind. I don't know. Maybe he just looks like he's from the fucking shore, dude. But yeah,
Mark Godbeer is as English as they come.
He is very English, but yeah, no, I wouldn't fight that fucking guy, dude. He's scary as shit.
It is.
But he had 3 fights in the UFC, and then I guess he didn't renew his contract because his last fight was to Walt Harris, which Walt Harris lost by a legal upkick.
Oh, you don't see that in heavyweight a lot.
You really don't. Like, what's it called? Well, Walt Harris is a fucking freak athlete too.
Yeah, he is.
Former college basketball player. And you see him too. He's got a short torso, but he's super fucking long. And then, but yeah, man, I don't know. It's just with this one, the way it's going. I mean, Marcin's on a good tear right now, proving a point. He's about to, if he wins, I don't know if he breaks top 10 if he wins.
I think if he wins this fight, he needs to fight the winner of Rozenstruik and Sakai.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Sakai. If it's Rozenstruik, I'm sure that Rozenstruik is going to expect to move further up.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't argue that he should. Because he should.
Yeah.
But Augusto Sakai is moving up. But, I mean, if you fight someone like Tibura and win, maybe it doesn't propel you forward like you'd want it to, but it does solidify you.
Like
and anytime you end a pretty big winning streak, that says something.
Yeah, right now, Walt Harris is ranked number 8 in the heavyweight division, in the UFC rankings. So,
I gotta say that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, it is. I didn't know that either because he had been out for so long, and also with his losses.
His fight's coming back. Yeah, they were losses.
Yeah,
So I'm a little surprised by that.
So I mean, but mentioning Rozenstruik and Augusto Sakai, you have number 6 and number 9 going at it. That's who it's going to be.
And that's what I'm saying. Tibura being 11, you win against Walt Harris. That pushes you up. If Sakai wins, I think that's a perfect matchup right there.
Yeah. And so I think that lines that up for them perfectly. Right now...
that being said, I don't see Rozenstruik losing this fight.
I don't either.
I think he's got something to prove in this fight, and I think he proves it. I think he's tired of losing. He got knocked out by Ngannou and then got dominated by Gon.
Yeah.
I think he's tired of it. I think he comes in here with a chip on his shoulder.
I think Ngannou put the fear in him, honestly.
Yeah, and I think Gon kind of capitalized on that and pointed that out, and so now he has to do something about it. So if he loses, not saying I'd be I wouldn't be surprised, but if he loses, he's definitely got to start doing something different. He's got to reevaluate himself because you definitely have something mental going on. They started calling him, you told me this, they started calling him Rozenstruik for his fight with Cyril Gane because he just stood there and let Cyril Gane beat him up. It wasn't like the most exciting fight, but I love watching fights like that when it's my guy who's winning. And Cyril Gane was winning that whole fight from start to finish.
I don't know if we talked about it before, but I didn't like what Dana White had to say about Cyril Gane after that. And I don't know if we talked about it on here before.
Oh, maybe not.
But after that, that's when Dana White came out and said about Cyril Gane. He was like, man, well, look what Francis Ngannou did to him in 10 seconds, and he took him 5 rounds just for that kind of a fight, and it's like,
look what Francis Ngannou has done to anybody he's ever fought. Yeah, you can't hype up Francis Ngannou if you're trying to compare him to people significantly lower ranked than he is. Yeah. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You're trying to act like every fighter should be like this one guy, then that one guy's not that special, is he? But he absolutely is special, so you cannot compare them.
I don't see him losing the belt anytime soon as well either.
I don't either. The only person I see him losing to is Stipe, Derek Lewis, and John Jones if he gets it figured out.
Which he is teaming up with Richard Schaefer, who is a former promoter for Golden Boy Promotions.
I think we talked about this.
Did we?
Last week, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he teamed up
But if we didn't?
Oh, yeah. What's it called? So he teamed up with him, in which he actually has a great relationship with Dana White. Yeah. So I think that's great.
And he's already come out and said, my one goal is get this fight with John Jones. Yeah. That is my one goal.
And if he makes it happen, that'd be fucking phenomenal. And I think he can. I think if he can reason enough with Dana White, which I'm sure and Dana White even spoke out and said, man, I like Richard a lot. Actually, he built that whole promotion. So we're definitely going to be able to see what we can work out for them.
It'll have to be after the Derek Lewis fight, though.
Which John Jones is going to need to. He needs to condition a little more.
Yeah, I wish he would take one fight, man. Yeah, fight Stipe.
That'd be perfect.
Fight freaking Rozenstruik.
They offered him Stipe. He didn't want it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, this is the fight I want," and I'm like, How about a third fight with Daniel Cormier? Bring Daniel Cormier out of retirement. That'll never happen. Yeah, no, that shouldn't happen.
No, Daniel Cormier will not put down the fucking fork for that to happen. He loves to eat. Dude, I was watching he was doing his stuff with Arahwani, and he's sitting there like sucking in a lot, and then Arahwani's like, "What's wrong, dude? Like, what? Did you eat something hot?" And it's like, "I had a ramen for breakfast, the extra hot ones." He's like, "It's 10 in the and he's like, "It's 10 in the morning." I'm like, "You fat fuck! Like, you couldn't just wait till lunch."
That's going in the title.
What's that?
Ramen for breakfast.
Ramen for breakfast. Fucking that. I wonder. I hope that gets.
Who eats ramen for breakfast?
I don't know, man.
If you eat ramen for breakfast, put it in the comments, please.
I eat pizza for breakfast.
Yeah, but that's breakfast pizza. Yeah. It doesn't matter what kind of breakfast it is. Yeah. If you eat it for breakfast, it's breakfast pizza.
When we were kids, we used to just leave it out and just eat it the next day.
Yeah.
So
Why put it in the fridge?
no,
man.
we wouldn't even put it in the fridge.
Have some class.
No, dude, we just say fuck it. Fucking
Just shove the pizza box on top of the milk jug and everything. Class.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't even do
Classy.
that. We just would leave it out. And my fucking dad built us to be savages. He was just like, nah, you'll survive.
You just put it on the stove.
Yeah. We
Be
just
alright.
leave it there. We would.
Yeah.
My mom would be working all the time, so like, what's it called? She would just get home and go to sleep and go back to work the next day. So we would just eat it from the stove. I didn't realize how fucking gross that was until later on. But yeah, man, it's a weird spot. So with the Rozenstruik and Sakai fight, you know, you have Sakai coming off his first loss
I like
ever.
that segue.
So what's that?
Just
Going from
jump it right back.
yeah, it's like let me get back to that before I forget. But Rozenstruik was looking great up until those two losses. He was
Yeah, for sure.
he was looking phenomenal. And so whenever he was fighting Ngannou, it was like, man, like this fucking fight's gonna be crazy, dude. And I didn't expect it to go down so fast. I knew someone was gonna get knocked out, but Francis Ngannou came in that fight and showed that, hey, I'm trying to be a fucking champion, and that's exactly what he did.
I don't want to be that guy,
Mhm.
but I was like, there's no way Rozenstruik wins this fight.
I'm sure a lot of people have felt that way though.
And I mean, I know Ngannou felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of had an issue with the matchup. He was like,
That's right,
I don't
yeah.
understand why this matchup happened, but I'll take it. I'm not going to deny it. That's not who I am. And that's why they were like, oh, did you have somewhere to be? And he just, no, this shouldn't have happened. So
Was that your John Morgan impersonation?
maybe. I don't know who that is. Did I sound like him?
Yeah, a little bit.
Then yes,
yeah.
it was.
Yeah, like-
But I don't know. He is good. He was it an 8-fight win streak that he was on?
yeah, he was undefeated
Before he got knocked out.
Yeah.
And then he got knocked out by Ngannou, and then he got beat by Cyril Gane. I think had he not looked so bad in the Gane fight, I would have been like, okay, you got knocked out by Ngannou. No big deal. It happens to everybody.
I forgot. He's since the fight against Francis Ngannou, he actually beat Junior Dos Santos. Then he lost to Cyril.
Okay. That changes nothing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry to anybody who gets butthurt about me saying beating a current Junior Dos Santos means nothing, but it doesn't.
No, he's taken so much damage over the past few years. So
there's a reason he got cut. Everybody's beating him. Everybody's beating Overeem. They got cut.
yeah,
There's a reason for it. But yeah, I think had he not looked so bad in the Cyril Gane fight, I'd have been like, okay, you lost to Ngannou. It happens to everybody. Unfortunately, it's just scary.
yeah,
But losing to Cyril Gane, like, okay, he's a up and coming talent who is one of the most well-rounded heavyweights, which that alone is pretty hard to come by. With how well-rounded he is, with how technical of a striker he is, with how versatile he is.
yeah.
Okay, but he looked terrible
Yeah,
in
he
that
didn't
fight.
look good.
If he had at least fought back, I'd have been like, okay, you're still in it. So he has to be active in this fight, and if he's not, then I don't know, man. But if he is, I think he takes it. I think it's got to be in his head that this has to be the fight he gets something spectacular.
Yeah, and he needs to win. I mean, he to show that, okay, yeah, like I'm number 6, like I should be top 5. You know.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy shit when Francis said that though. When they asked him like, "Why'd you win it out there so fast?" He said, I shouldn't be in there with him. I'm better than him.
And he was very like well spoken and respectful about it.
Yeah,
But he just spoke his mind at the same time. He was just, I just didn't. This isn't a matchup I think should have happened. He's ranked below me. I'm trying to move back up. I'm trying to get my way back up there, and this is something that I don't see why it had to happen.
yeah. And Augusto Sakai, I mean, he only had one loss coming into the in the UFC coming into the he just lost to Alistair Overeem by TKO. That was his last fight. It happened back in September of 2020. And before that though, he was yeah. And before that he was undefeated in the UFC with 3 stoppages, 2 decisions. One of his decisions was against Andrei Arlovsky, who's never an easy guy to finish, honestly, no matter how older he's getting. Even if he becomes a gatekeeper of the heavyweight division, he's not an easy guy to finish.
But that's one of his decision wins, right?
Yeah, it was a split decision. And then he had a split decision win over Blagoy Ivanov, Which I'm surprised that guy never did anything in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I think he was one of those guys that was supposed to be real big and just kind of never
former
could get it together.
Former PFL heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
back when I was World
with
Series
heavyweight,
fighting.
I'm tired of trying to pick out who the next big thing is in heavyweight.
Yeah, because we have it.
It's so hard to figure that out unless you have someone who is obviously it, like Francis.
Yeah.
But like Stefan Struve, Matt Mitrione, Pat Barry, heck, Alistair Overeem. Like, it seems so obvious. These guys are going to be a big deal, and none of them are. Matt Mitrione's he's a big name in Bellator, but he got dropped by Fedor. Granted, he dropped Fedor at the same exact time.
That was a crazy one.
It was, but I don't know, man. Heavyweight's just such a crazy weight class that there's no way to really predict that kind of stuff. So Rozenstruik and Sakai, I'm gonna give it to Rozenstruik just because I think he's got more going on mentally that I'm putting my faith in him that he will get himself put together and win this fight aggressively.
So that's the thing though. It's like I've never seen Augusto Sakai fight. Surprisingly, I'm pretty sure I've seen some of his stoppages. I just didn't realize that was him. But
his fight against Andrei Arlovski, I know I saw that one. He's good. Split decision against Andrei. Like you said, it's hard to finish Andrei Arlovski. He's just a really tough guy. That being said, he's not the most technical guy.
Yep.
Not that Rozenstruik is, but I do think Rozenstruik is a bit more methodical with how he strikes.
Yep.
So as far as the striking edge, I think I'd give that to Rozenstruik. Power, I don't know. That one's tough. That one's in the air. Rozenstruik's got a handful of knockouts.
You see what he did to Alistair Overeem's fucking face when they fought?
That was rough. But that was like the very end of the fight.
It was like the last 4 seconds whenever they TKO'd it. And,
he was losing that fight.
Yeah, he was getting beat up the whole fight. And so the thing is, though, I feel like Augusto Sakai can do that to him, you know? Yeah. And so, but yeah, he split his lip all the way up. He looked like he had like a Glasgow smile on. Like, it was nasty, dude. And what else? I was just kind of wait and see with that one. But like one of the things that you just said that kind of like caught my attention was like, you know, people talk about like the next big thing in heavyweight, but I think we have it right in front of us already. And
Francis?
With Francis.
Well, yeah, but that's what I was saying. With Francis, it's so obvious.
Yeah. And
like you look at him and you go, Lord.
Yeah.
You are not human.
Have you ever heard him yell pound for pound at fucking Kamaru Usman?
Have I ever heard him what?
Like after Kamaru Usman knocked out Jorge Masvidal, he back to his corner, and Kamaru Usman was like pound for pound.
No, but I heard him call himself sexy.
Who's that?
Francis.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that.
Daniel Cormier making fun of him for wearing too tight of shirts.
Yeah,
he's like, you're a heavyweight champion now. You have the money. Go buy bigger shirts. And Kamaru relays that to him, and he goes, come on, Daniel. You don't think I'm sexy? It's like, dude.
And he like Kamaru Usman went to his corner, like pound for pound the best, and then that's when he's like pound for pound, and fucking Francis Ngannou said it back to him, and I was like, dude, I don't know why that gave me chills. Like you're fucking huge, man, because it's like you see Francis Ngannou go against the other guys, and of course like he's way more like fucking bigger than these guys, a lot of these guys, but you don't realize how big he is till he's against some of these normal fighters.
You put him against an average-sized human being, and it's like, whoa, you are a monster.
Yeah, he is. But I
think
him
next to Overeem, and you're like, okay, they're both big guys.
Yeah.
Put him next to a normal person.
Who wins, fucking Ngannou or Overeem?
I mean...
But, like, I'm talking like fucking Overeem. You remember Overeem?
Yeah, but like, so we're saying...
Like...
Overeem can be on steroids and it's
horse
okay.
Meat, fucking like
which Overeem? Are we talking current Overeem?
No, I'm talking like past one, like
past Overeem.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry, not Overeem. Ngannou.
Ngannou.
Current Ngannou versus Overeem.
Yeah, that seems like a fair fight.
I think I'd still give it to Ngannou. Because he's gonna land on Overeem. Overeem got hit back then.
Yeah. He got cut against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he got hit. You can't let Ngannou hit you, apparently, unless you're Stipe.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he got knocked out, but look how many hits he took before he got knocked out.
Took a lot of punishment.
Hits.
Yeah.
And he was, I wouldn't say he was perfectly fine, but he was like in it every step of the way. He never was phased really by those strikes. Yeah, I'd give it to Ngannou. I think Overeem got hit back then. What he had working for him is how quick he could be with his kicks. He's a K1 boxer, right? Or a K1 champion, right?
Yep.
Overeem?
Yep.
Yeah, so his kicks were on point back then, but I think USADA came a knocking, and his his speed snuck out the back door.
You know what happened was this is even before USADA came in. He's supposed to fight Junior Dos Santos for the championship. This is why I call him Uberim. Is like, so whenever he's supposed to fight Junior Dos Santos, they took a piss test and they noticed his testosterone levels were 5 times higher than the average man, like enough for them to be like, you're on something. And then,
look at him. He is 5 times the average man.
Yeah. But then look what happened whenever like USADA came in though.
Yeah. Like I said, USADA came a knocking, and a few people left the back door of Overeem's body.
Yeah. And
his speed, for sure.
Yeah.
He was not nearly as fast as he used to be. His physique, for sure. I mean, the dude's still jacked, but he wasn't like shredded and jacked. And that's what freaks me out about Ngannou. He is,
which was crazy because like the second he got
Terminator, man.
The second he got into with Ngannou, like when he got in the UFC, he wasn't as shredded as he was. And then now, and he's pissing clean. He's good.
He has to be.
And so I'm guaranteed he's getting tested all the fucking time, too.
He has to, that's where I was saying he has to be clean, because I would be testing him every day. I would test him, and he'd be like, dude, have we tested you yet? He was like, yes, I'm currently peeing in the cup. And I'd be like, I just can't.
There's no way.
Are you burning a hole in that cup, dude?
What kind of radioactive waste is that? That's that fucking Pasadena water. That's not even. But, yeah, so, man, with one of the things I feel about with Francis Ngannou, though, is there kind of has to be that, anybody who doesn't watch the sport should tune into him, because of the fact that he's 34 years old. He's going to be at the top for a while if he gets past Derek Lewis. But the thing is, though, is, he's not a very active fighter yet. I think if he gets past Derek Lewis, he will be a lot more active.
He can be active. After he lost to Stipe, he was very active.
Yeah.
So he can be active, but I think being around Trevor Whitman and his guys, he's not going to be, because Trevor Whitman is going to be like, no. We're going to figure out the next fighter you're fighting, and then we are going to make sure you know what you're doing before you get in there.
Forgot he's with Trevor Whitman. God, that's fucking scary.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you look at it, and I'm sure that's why Trevor Whitman was like, just bring him in.
Yeah.
Because it's obvious.
He's training wrestling with Kamaru Usman. He showed against him this Stipe fight. Stipe tried to take him down. He stuffed it.
Yeah, which is, I think that was kind of the beginning of the end for Stipe.
Yeah, everyone said that too. They're like, this is when Stipe knew he was going to lose the fight.
Yeah.
Stipe wants that rematch.
Yeah, I know he does. He said that he doesn't. He wants a rematch. And he was like, I'll take another fight, but I want that rematch. I don't think there's a reason I shouldn't get the rematch.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe calm down.
Yeah. I feel like I know, like, for real, like, that's he should, because it's too soon. He got hit a lot. And it showed whenever he fought him the first time, and then after they fought Daniel Cormier and got knocked out. And, his chin was definitely weaker coming into that Cormier fight. Granted, Cormier didn't land a great right hand over the top, which was on the same side.
I don't think I couldn't sit well saying he had a weaker chin.
Yeah.
You're looking at Daniel Cormier, who got into a rhythm of knocking people out, or at least rocking people really heavily.
He got very comfortable with his hands,
and then getting knocked out by Ngannou means jack.
Yeah,
like, of course you got knocked out by Ngannou. Again, look at all the shots he took. I can't agree with him having a weaker chin. Yeah, because if you look at those shots he took, especially when Ngannou had his back while they were standing, dude, he was landing heavy shots straight to the temple. Yeah, and he was fine. So it's just
I think he just needs a 2-0 fight before he fights somebody, like, because he took a lot of damage in the fight. And I guarantee someone like Francis Ngannou punching you in the fucking face, dude.
Yeah,
you need to take a little bit of a break.
And I will say that he acknowledged his mistake, which was jumping on when he rocked Ngannou.
Yeah.
And I agree that was his mistake.
Because he's I don't know what's happened, but I feel like Stipe's boxing isn't as crisp as it used to be.
It's not. I think it's because he's trying to be more patient, so it's kind of a mental thing. He's a little more hesitant. So whenever he wants to throw a nice combination, I feel like for a second he's got to think, is this the right time to do that?
Yeah.
And so it kind of throws off his rhythm, the flow, as Yuri Prochazka would say.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. But that'll be the UFC card this weekend, Rozenstruik and Sakai. Let us know what you guys think on that one. Now we're going to move to another event this weekend, which is going to be Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather.
Disgusting.
Yeah. But they revealed the rule set that you were telling me about.
Yeah, they really reviewed the
released,
motherfucker, whichever. They told everybody what the rules are going to be for Saturday, and so there's not going to be any judging. So no matter, it's just an exhibition match, but they won't have headgear on. There will not be any judges at the end of this fight to say who was the clear winner. Knockouts are allowed. If it goes
to decision, it will be by draw.
Yeah,
just so people understand that when the fight goes to a draw, it doesn't mean the judges thought it was a draw. It means it was predetermined. If it went to decision, it would be a draw. A lot of people had an issue with that with the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. fight.
Yeah,
it was always going to be a draw because knockouts weren't really allowed and there were no judges, so it was always going to be a draw. It was simply for the viewer's pleasure.
And so, and that's with that. There's a couple other stuff, but it's going to be an exhibition match. KOs are allowed. Mike Tyson fight, the KOs knockouts were not allowed. They couldn't knock each other out. And what else? So they'll be fighting this Sunday. I think Floyd Mayweather's gonna take it. I'm not putting it past Logan Paul. He's athletic. A lot of people can't fucking stand him. I don't blame them, but he's very athletic. He's a big guy, but I think Floyd Mayweather just goes in there and just puts it on him.
Yes, if Floyd Mayweather, I'm saying this right now, I don't give a crap who disagrees. If Floyd Mayweather doesn't win that fight, it's rigged. Yeah. Something I'm significantly more excited about for that night. Chad Johnson is boxing Brian Maxwell.
Ocho Cinco's making
Ocho freaking Cinco.
Really?
Child Please is making a boxing debut.
Now I might not illegally stream this one.
If that doesn't excite you, then you don't like sports.
Yeah. I mean, you always want to see these football players fucking throw down. Anytime a fight happens at an NFL game, people get super excited.
Especially someone who ran their mouth as much as Chad Johnson.
Yeah, he talked a bunch of shit, but he's also really good. Like, yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. It's whatever with those guys. I think whatever they're doing, they're making good money doing it. But
it's a Triller fight card.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Logan Paul is with Triller. Jake Paul is with Showtime. I hate that I know it so indefinitely.
There's a good reason you do know that.
Sports world is a freaking circus right now.
The upside to it, though, is that Showtime is actually going to put him against a real fighter now.
Yeah, Tyron Woodley. Jake Paul is set to fight Tyron Woodley. Do you remember the date off the top of your head?
I know it's in August.
Something or another. Tyron Woodley has not been Askren.
No.
Which is something when we were talking about that's what I was saying. He's not Ben Askren, but he's also not a trained boxer.
No.
Jake Paul, I do not have respect for him as a boxer, and I don't think anybody should. I don't care what he did to Ben Askren. Both you or I could do that to Ben Askren in a boxing match. So Tyron Woodley's not Ben Askren because he is a striker, or at least he became a striker. But he's not a trained boxer. So as far as pure boxing, yeah, Jake Paul might look a little better. Mm-hmm. But I don't think Tyron Woodley's going to be so uncomfortable like Ben Askren was.
Yeah. I mean, because he trains to stand up a lot, but there's things about Tyron Woodley that kind of makes me question it because you gotta understand is like Jake Paul trains boxing. That's what he does. He trains to have a boxing cardio. I do feel like boxing cardio is more severe, like more prominent than MMA cardio. And I mean, you with 3 rounds. Oh, I mean, these guys. Oh, excuse me, 3-minute rounds. Even though the rounds are longer in MMA, there's a whole different type of conditioning that goes into each of these sports. You know.
Do you think that Tyron Woodley has bad cardio?
I do. I think he has terrible cardio. I mean,
see his fights against Stephen Thompson?
Yeah, I did see his fights. They were great. But that's the only time he's ever showed good cardio, though.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, besides
that's why that's my only
example. I wonder if he was working with Phil Daru for those fights. Phil Daru is a strength and conditioning coach. He works with a lot of MMA fighters and pro boxers and stuff like that. But
I would also like to clarify. Or not clarify, but reiterate. Jake Paul does have the advantage in a boxing match, which is what this is. So if he wins, yet again, he won against a retired fighter.
Yeah.
Well, Tyron Woodley's not retired, but he got cut recently. So cool.
Yeah,
dude.
So he's bigger than Tyron Woodley. They're fighting at 190. Yeah. Tyron walks around like 210, 212.
Yeah, but Tyron's jacked.
He's jacked. Yeah, and so they're fighting at 190, but the thing is, though, is Jake Paul, he has longer reach advantage.
Yeah,
I'm sure he has the type of cardio to go no matter how long the fight goes. And so he takes his training serious. People can't fucking stand him, but, I mean, whenever you're actually doing this to train with great coaches and you are athletic, you're going to have success with it, you know?
Well, I mean, you know who else took their training seriously?
Who's that?
Jason Thacker.
The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah. Jason Thacker took his training seriously. He wasn't good at it.
I mean, P-Bed? Yeah.
Little spritz.
Yeah.
So I don't think that taking your training seriously. Look at CM Punk. Look how serious CM Punk was about his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but
did you see his jiu-jitsu against Mickey Gall?
Yes.
Did you see Mike freaking Jackson in full mount against CM Punk, making it look like a big brother, little brother thing? The big bully in the playground?
Those little bolo punches.
CM Punk took his training very seriously for several years, and that was the result.
Yeah.
The result we've seen for Jake Paul is a disciplined boxing. That's good. But if your competition are retired NBA players, other YouTubers, Ben Askren, like you're not really showing us how sharp your boxing is. You're showing us how good you can hit somebody who doesn't hit back very well. It's like what Bruce Lee said: boards don't hit back.
Yeah.
Ben Askren was a board that night.
Yeah, he was. It was a pretty thick one. So I think with that though, also like Tyron Woodley, he drops his hands a lot when he throws his punches. He's known for his overhand right, and whenever he tried to throw an uppercut against Vicente Luque, he got caught with an overhand right. And so there's that. You have a guy who's shown that he has a really good straight cross, and so.
But, I mean, this doesn't have a whole lot of standing on this.
Yeah.
But Tyron Woodley was looking good in that fight.
He was looking great
before he got knocked out by Luque.
Yeah.
And he even said himself, like, yeah, I really wanted to go in there and get the exciting finish, and that kind of cost me. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think this at least is the first time that Jake Paul is fighting someone that I can say, at least this guy should be competitive.
Yeah, he's actually going to have a competitive match this time.
Yeah.
And so it's good to see that. But I'm kind of 50-50 on how the fight goes, though. And
I understand.
I would like to see Tyron Woodley win. You know, he's going to make a fuck ton of money, and I think the last thing he needs to do is lose. He already lost to Colby Covington, man. And so the beef they had, I mean, I think that just made it worse. That fight should have happened whenever it was at the peak of it, but that was that whole dumb shit with the UFC. They screwed over Colby Covington and stuff because Colby Covington wanted to have a sinus surgery and a sinus procedure. He has some issue with his sinus, but everyone was like talking shit like, just take a fucking Sudafed, like, you know. But I mean, now you see how good Colby Covington's gas tank is, so maybe it's a good thing he didn't take that fight.
Yeah.
So then there's more thing.
Zabit Magomed Sharapov, who has announced that he's going to be inactive. He's kind of taking a hiatus to work on his health. He's got some immunity or immune disease that they're trying to get figured out. and so he's not going to be active, and he was already pretty inactive.
Yeah.
So
he's waiting for that Yair fight for a long time.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yair he's fighting
Max Holloway.
So he needs to do what he's got to do. I think Zabit needs to be a bit more active if he wants to call people out.
Yeah.
You see too many guys who are good and they call people out, but they don't fight. And it's like, yeah, no one's accepting these fights against you, but I do find it hard to believe that no contract goes your way.
Yeah.
With Leon Edwards, he had trouble getting a fight. People also weren't sending him contracts.
Yeah.
So with him, like I think Dana White had sent him a contract, and he said, that's not. He was like, that's not doable. Like I'm so sick of fighting for stuff like that. Like, let's make something happen. And Dana White was very understanding with it.
Yeah.
Was it B? He's even more inactive. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this really sucks because he was really fun to watch. So who knows what's going to happen with him, if he'll ever come back.
Yeah, he has to have surgery as well.
Chimaev is coming back, so that's exciting.
The Ultimate Fighter came back last night.
Yeah, the Ultimate Fighter, Return of the Ultimate Fighter. I don't see a lot of differences with it after that first episode.
No.
It's the coaches are Brian Ortega fighting Alexander Volkanovski for the title. I don't know. The Ultimate Fighter just isn't what it used to be.
No, it's not. But I mean, it was good to see it back. But it was kind of like, man, like, I mean, that dude Andre, was it Petrovsky? Yeah, he stood out. He stood out from
did.
the start, and I understood why he was Brian Ortega's first pick. But
Dude's jacked.
yeah, and Aaron Phillips. I mean, I think if he would fight any other guy, he probably would have had a better fight. But he doesn't really train his jiu-jitsu so much, and it showed. Andre Petrovsky won by an arm and guillotine from full mount.
Well, even if he did train his jiu-jitsu, he had plenty of time to show off his striking in that first round, but he never did.
Yeah.
He was way too timid, which, I mean, I understand. When you're looking at Andre, that dude's huge, but you are the striker in that matchup. You are the guy who should be the aggressor on the feet, and you weren't. Very little was thrown on the feet, and anytime Andre would move, Aaron Phillips would back up. Yeah. And like flinch. And I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, for somebody like what's that? Andre showed that is his name, right?
Yeah. He's the known to be an amazing wrestler. So he
had good footwork standing up.
He looked good at standing up, but he also didn't do anything standing up. He threw these weird leg kicks that he just kind of threw out there.
He landed a head kick.
He did?
Yeah,
he landed it, or did he get it blocked?
He landed it. It was like when he went up, Aaron was doing it, went in on him, and then when he threw up the head kick, it was like kind of knee right to the forehead.
Okay.
And
I guess I missed it.
But he took him down, and then it was just his game from there. It was obvious what he wanted to do. He's a former college wrestler. I mean, and they show his highlights from his fights before the Ultimate Fighter, and he's a wrestler. That's what he does. He does it very well. But so we're gonna be it's interesting to see that they found. So apparently they have a date now for Volkanovski versus Ortega. Because I wasn't excited about these guys being coaches for the simple fact of it being. It just holds up the division, Volkanovski had gotten COVID, and then they had him stay to coach the Ultimate Fighter. He had the opportunity to, so he said, "Yeah, I'll do it." But it just holds up the division more than it should, and it sucks to see it because I feel like that the featherweight division needs to move forward. You have guys that are still knocking on the door. Max Holloway is fighting, still beating the shit out of guys and showing that he deserves a third match against Volkanovski, and so
my thing is, it's a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Reality TV is based around drama. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I hate that. So that's why I don't mind watching The Ultimate Fighter because there's a level of talent that goes into it. You have coaches who get brought on to be in The Ultimate Fighter, and there's no like genuine rivalry there.
Yeah.
So when you look at like the memorable coach matchups in The Ultimate Fighter, and you think of Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, or Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock, there's a rivalry there.
Rampage
Rashad's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey and Misha Tate. Josh Koscheck and GSP, that one was a decent one.
That was a good season, yeah.
So when you put guys together, especially back when they had the coaches who didn't even fight each other, that didn't make any sense to me.
Rich Franklin and Matt Hughes. Yeah.
It was kind of weird. And then in this one, you have Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega. Not to say they're not competitive. They're going to fight each other, so there's competitive bit of rivalry there. But neither of those guys really strike me as someone who will make it entertaining. Look at Challen Vanderlei.
I forgot about that. How do I forget
that one was
that?
wild.
Made one of the best MMA memes I've ever seen. Michael Bisping when he coached.
Michael Bisping
twice.
and Jason Miller.
Yeah,
and then Michael Bisping and Dan Henderson. Yeah, so that's all I'm saying is like, I'd rather not watch it for the drama aspect, but if I don't get to see great fights, then I want to see at least some little drama, a little tussle here and there.
Yeah. Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw, they coached.
That one was all right.
But I can't remember what season it was, dude, but I remember there was one season where Dana White had to pull all the fighters aside, and it was all these fights were going to decision.
It was basically another "Do you want to be a fighter?" speech. Yeah. And yeah, like I feel like my issue with The Ultimate Fighter is they started going and getting these guys who were already kind of established as a good fighter. Yeah. So when you get that and you get another guy who's already established, they go in there and you put stakes out there like a UFC contract. They're going to try to play it safe.
Yeah.
It's like putting them in a championship fight. They're going to have to try to play it safe. But when you go get guys who they're not established, like you look at that first season, most of those guys were around and people knew who they were, but nobody knew who Forrest Griffin was on a like nationwide perspective. Like no one knew who Stephan Bonner was, other than people like in maybe their local gyms or the local MMA scene.
Yeah.
Cage fighting scene. You probably couldn't even call it an MMA scene.
I remember, what was that? Remember they put Tim Elliott on one season?
Yeah.
He was already fighting in the UFC. They put him in there, and it was like, what's the point of that?
Yeah. And
he won it.
Like, I don't understand some of these people they go and get. Like, Andre, you look at that fight last night, and obviously Andre was going to win that fight.
Yeah.
I wanted Aaron Phillips to win, I'll be honest. Just because... when like you said, when they were showing Andre, you see his fights and you're like, yeah, this dude's freaking good.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this guy already. He trains with some of the other fighters on the show, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have that, and then you have Aaron Phillips, who's from Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Some of the people know he's got a heavy hand. I think he trains with someone else on the show too.
Mm-hmm.
But he's more of a scrappy kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily a big name. He wasn't like super established in one aspect of the sport.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of what this show is missing. It has this we're too professional to have stuff like that kind of.
Yeah, because I remember when you used to have to fight to get in the house, and that was always fun to watch. It was like, I remember one of my favorite knockouts was when Diego Brando knocked out that fucking dude
in like 4 seconds.
Yeah, you just like, I forgot. Yeah, he knocked him out like quick as fuck, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. And it's just him with his clean right hand had him stiffed out cold.
I think that was one of the last like exciting matchups, or not matchups, but roster.
Even the GSP season was fun too, watching that.
Yeah,
because
a lot of good guys came out of that season.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex Caceres was in that season.
Yeah, who else was Cody McKenzie?
Cody McKenzie, thanks, Joe.
He was getting choked out nonstop. He was choking people out nonstop. That was always crazy as shit to see.
And look at him. He had a similar story. His story, I mean, whether there's more to it or not, I don't know. But he was just like, yeah, me and some guys, we'd hang out at the bar, and then we'd go outside and we'd wrestle around, and we just learned how to get better at chokes. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And how did you get on this show?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's kind of the exciting part of it. Is
Hey,
these are
man.
just dudes who like to fight.
If-
And half of them are at a gym. Half of them have competed. The other half of them are like, yeah, we want to compete. That's
Yeah.
why we're here. We kind of, and then a big thing is that most of them need it. Most of them can't fiscally make sense of life without it. And then you look at Andre Petrovsky from last night. Look at his house. The dude has a house on a lake, and he's talking about all these jet skis he owns and all these canoes and kayaks. And I'm like, why are you here, man? You don't need this.
And that's what, like, even like the season Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum they coached on. It was an okay season,
Yeah.
but I mean, you saw that. But the thing is, you saw guys that just threw down. They would just go in there and be like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna have five pro fights, but I just like to fight," you know.
John Jones and Chael Sonnen had a good roster.
Yeah,
They weren't all the most exciting. Uriah Hall was great.
Kelvin Gastelum.
Going Gastelum wasn't the most exciting.
No, but he was the underdog. He was picked last.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was boring.
Yeah.
He's
choking
gotten better.
He was
but
choking people out. I remember that.
Yeah.
So what's it called?
Luke Barnett was on there.
Dylan Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened to that guy.
Um,
He was the main underdog of the season though.
Yeah.
Going in.
I think Kelvin Gastelum was an underdog, but Dylan Andrews was really he just had tough matchups.
Yeah, and he was I think he was almost like a kid compared to all these other
Yeah.
fighters. And so when he had to fight Uriah Hall, it was it was a tough fight for him, but he went in there and he did
It
it.
looked good. Then he got knocked
Yeah.
out from the bottom.
Yeah, I think Uriah Hall like kind of knew that he could beat him, and just like I think he felt kind of bad having to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Because it's just Uriah Hall. But
But yeah, so
Yep.
The Ultimate Fighter is back. The first episode's out. It's on ESPN Plus.
whoa, dude, don't plug them. They don't sponsor us.
No, they don't. They should.
They should. That'd be cool.
Why? I don't know. They should though.
Yeah,
Shouldn't they?
I think so.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that'll just about do it. Remember that we are on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast. Check us out there. We are on YouTube if you like YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe
Check us out on Instagram as well.
on Instagram. Let us know your thoughts on Instagram. That's mainly why we have that platform, is just kind of let people know what's going on in between episodes. It gives people a platform to kind of let us know what their thoughts are other than YouTube. If you want to go on YouTube and leave a comment, though, we'd appreciate it.
And also a big thank you out to Caleb for doing a do it your own way kind of thing.
Yeah, so we're about to have a post, and it'll be from this challenge that's on and kind of like the art side of the internet. It's draw this in your style. So we really appreciate everybody who did that. And I say everybody, and I mean Caleb and Charlie. We really appreciate you guys. I freaking love y'all's art. We'll have that post up pretty soon. So we appreciate everybody. Till next time.